Hey guys, Gary Lucas with Obsidian Ping here. I have a commission that I got in, Brother Corbullo, and the guy, he wanted me to kind of, I guess, video diary it. Well, he essentially just wanted me to show how to paint it, but I'm going to video diary the whole thing, and thought I'd start with kind of like how I prep my metal models. So first thing you do, get it out of the package, and I like to separate all the bits. I get rid of all the big pieces of flash, not flash, but the things that are clinging on, like this was attached there. So all I did was bend it till it came off. And then, what you want to do is you want to take an X-Acto knife and you want to find all the mold lines. Now, mold lines are actually really simple to find. They're always going to be, you can see this right here, okay, or whenever you see an extraneous piece that has a little connector thing on it, it's always going to be on the side, generally. So all you have to do is look on the side of the model, and you can see little mold lines, okay? And then what you do is just take your knife. There's two ways you can do this. You can either use the back side of your knife at a slight angle, so that way the edge of the back does it, okay, and that works fine. But I prefer to kind of go in, and I like to hold the knife like this, so it's cupped between all my fingers, and then I have my thumb here, so I can get this kind of motion where I curve my fingers in, kind of scrape the blade, kind of like this. Really short movements. And having a knife like this, because it's flat against your thumb, it's pretty much, it's almost impossible for it to cut you. However, if you're a child, don't do this. Get your parents to, make them watch the video. Everything will be okay. Just don't kill yourselves. That would be bad. So, for metal models, don't really worry about if you start seeing some tiny little scratches on the model surface, because we're going to be fixing that in the next step. So before, I used to just take steel wool to the model, but since buying this Dremel, I have found there's a much better way than steel wool. Okay? So, there's a huge mold line right there. That's not cool. So, the way to use the Dremel for this is we're going to use the wire brushes. Okay? So, all you need, just need the wire brush for your Dremel, and you'll be good to go. So, now onto the Dremel. So I'm just using the Dremel 7300. I bought it for $30 at Walmart. Okay, let me just put that in. I'm just going to use this little steel wire brush. He'd be loud, I don't know. I'm going to turn it on high. Okay, and then you're going to hold it like this, kind of like a pencil. Okay, and all you're going to do is kind of brush it across the mini. Now you don't want to push too hard, because if you push too hard, you'll actually start scratching the mini and ruining the surface. So what I'll do is I'll show you, I'll do half of this shoulder pad here, and then I'll leave the other half normal, and then you'll see what a difference it makes. And the reason why we're doing this is because this is essentially polishing the surface, making the surface as smooth as possible, because the smoother the surface is, the better the paint is going to stick to it. Alright, so I'll do that right now. Okay, as you saw there a couple times, it kind of went, ugh. Make sure to hold on. Okay, so you see how shiny that is? And if you look over here, oh look, it's not so shiny. That's not cool. So all I'm going to do is do that to the whole model, and then I'll be right back. Get your parents to do this. If they don't have a Dremel, just get them to do steel wool. Steel wool can even be dangerous. Make sure you wear safety goggles. A little face mask helps from breathing in metallic dust particles. And also, safety gloves would be nice. It's kind of like a do what I say, not do what I do kind of thing. So, yeah. Okay, so now I'm going to use the polishing thing for the Dremel. The other thing you could do if you don't have a Dremel is you can just take a toothbrush and some soap and some water and go and brush the Mini off. But I find this, once again, the Dremel is much better. So all you're going to do is just go over all the parts and it just smooths everything out. And here we go. Alright, so you're going to do that to the whole Mini, and then we'll be done the prepping. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the Mini together and base it. So, here's its base, and what I'm going to do is I didn't really give me any basing instructions, so I'm just going to do kind of like a simple-ish base. Using some cork. Now I had someone ask me before, how do I make bases for my lords and guys? And you can essentially use this same technique. It's not the same as doing like a display thing, but this is still gonna produce some pretty cool bases. So let's see. What you want to do is you want to take a piece of cork, kind of like that. And you can just buy corkboard. You can buy them in packs of 4 for like $8 or something like that. They come in huge squares at like Walmart. So, yeah, looks good. Then you take another piece, kind of put it on top-ish. I'd say that looks good. So then, I'm going to glue the first piece down. So we're going to put some glue on there. And trust me, this corkboard will, it'll soak up the glue pretty quickly. You take it and you push it down. You want to make sure you kind of have an idea of what you're doing before you put it on. Give it a second or two. Yeah, that's good. I just use super glue. So let's position this, get an idea. I think that's pretty good. Put it on the bottom of this little guy. And then push that down. Now we got like a 2-layered corkboard thing. And as that's drying, you can put it off to the side and move over to the Mini. Okay, so let's see how this goes. Doesn't really go in. That'll be good enough. I'm going to use some glue. Some of that glue down into the backpack there. All I'm going to do is take the guy, push it on, and hope for the best. So next thing you want to do is you want to take the base, and we're just going to trim it, because right now it just kind of looks a little silly. So all you're going to do is you're going to take your knife, and it's going to come down on the pieces that are hanging over, just going to pull them down, just like this, until pieces fall off, and you just do it until it looks the way you want it. Okay, so just keep doing it essentially until it looks good. So next thing we need to do is, since we're making his cork base and we're not going to be using a slot, there's two things we can do. We can either create a slot in the cork, put him out in it, but I kind of don't like that idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the slot off, like this. Use some wire cutters or whatever floats your boat. Don't use plastic cutters, you'll ruin them. Off she goes. So now I'm just going to take my knife, kind of cut off a little excess here. Yeah, and then you just keep going, and you're going to keep doing that, and then eventually we're going to take the file and we're going to file everything down. Okay? Okay guys, so yeah, be careful, just don't hurt yourself like I did. Kind of bled a little bit, but we'll move on to the next part, so just remember safety. I'm going to drill a hole up through one of his feet, probably this one. Okay, what this is going to do is then it's going to solidify him on the base, because then we're going to drill a hole through the base and then we're going to pin him essentially to the base. Now you could go up through this foot too, but it would be kind of weird because you kind of have to go on an angle, and I don't really want to do that. So I'm just going to go up this one, because you can see there's a huge line. I could just go up his whole leg if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. So start slow. You only need to go slow. First, start here, and go in. Make sure to come out. Get rid of all this stuff. See how deep that is. We could go a little bit more in. Okay, here we go. Let's go high speed. Nice. Alright. Once I get this out, we'll move on to the next part. There we go. So then you're going to take a paper clip. I have one around here somewhere. You're going to stick it in there and glue it in. And then we're going to drill a hole in there and do the same thing. Alright, so now I've drilled the hole here in the base, and I've put the pin in there, so it's the paper clip, and then I just want to test fit, so that's what he's going to look like on the base. So all I'm going to do is just put some glue in that hole. Some glue on his feet. A little bit on this. And push him in. Once again, the corkboard is just gonna absorb the glue really quickly. You want to push down hard. And then put them off to the side and let them dry. So, and finally, just to finish off, what I'm going to do is around parts of the bottom here, I'm going to take some PVA glue. I'm also going to put something here. A little bit on top. Just kind of all around like that. I'm going to grab kind of a brush I use specifically for this. Then you want to grab a brush I use specifically for this, spread it around just a little bit into the areas you want, into all the cracks and crevices at the bottom of the vase. Spread it around over there a little bit. Okay, and then I've got some kind of tiny rocks. I'm just gonna dip it in. Okay, and then for the top part, I'm gonna grab some of the rock, kind of sprinkle it over top. Tap the base, wipe off the excess. Then you're going to go around with your brush, same one, and just kind of clean it up a bit, make it look a little nicer. Okay, and then we let that dry, and then we're gonna prime it and get to painting.